everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live community chat here on my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business, and we get together weekly in these community chat sessions. If you're not new here, then you know every week we have a new poll. But before we get to that, I wanted to say Happy New Year. Fresh new year, fresh start, fresh slate. Let's go get it, you guys. But this week, the poll is, do you take time off during the holidays? And I asked this question because typically we see a little bit of a downturn in business during the holidays. I think that's pretty common. I've had, I think, 1 or 2 years that were anomalies where I did very well in December, but I think it all comes down to how much budgets for things businesses have. And if their budgets are expended by the end of the year, then they're not creating any new content for the new year. But every once in a while, I think twice so far, December's been a very, very good month, but typically not so much. It's pretty slow. So, what do you do? Do you actually take some time off and recharge, regroup, plan out next year, strategize, right? Think of new ways to market yourself, refresh the demos, work on your website, rebrand, perhaps? Or do you just take the time off and relax? What do you do? I wanted to see what you guys did or plan to do in upcoming holidays. So let's head over to the poll. I have 18 votes so far. It looks like 89% of you said, yes, I take time off during the holidays. I did too. Not very much, but I was able to take, I think, the day before Christmas Eve. So I took a few days off, maybe 4, a total of maybe 4 full days off, maybe 5, because I also got sick right after Christmas. So I was kind of forced to be down and take some time off. But I think there's nothing wrong with not taking the time off. I mean, let me rephrase. Don't get me wrong. I am all about recharging, rejuvenating, refreshing, taking time to regroup, because you need to take time off, right? You can't just push yourself hard for months and months and months. You need to take some time off every once in a while. It's just not good for you to push very hard. And I think the holidays, especially if you're not seeing any business, you might as well take a day or two to recharge, right? And then with that newfound energy, regroup, re-strategize for the next year. So if you are in the camp of, taking the time off to regroup and re-strategize, what can you do during that time? I'm still getting over my cold, pardon me. But so what do you do? Well, as I mentioned before, you can spend that time working on your website. If you don't have one yet, consider all of the things, all of the elements that you need to have together before you start building out your website. Like, what is your brand? What is your brand? What are you going to be? What are you going to be known by? Are you going to use your name, a stage name, a moniker? What are you going to use? Do you have a logo for your brand? Do you have colors? Do you have a color palette for your brand? Do you have a website host already picked out and figured out? I get this question a lot. What do you recommend for a website host? I think there are a handful of them out there. I would say take a look at all of them and see which of them align with what you want, that they have the options that you want or need, and not to mention cost, because I'm sure pretty sure all of them have a different cost for what it is that you need. And then also, how simple is it to build, right? If you go with WordPress, if you're technically inclined in that way to build your own website using WordPress, then go for it. I am not. So I went with Wix, where there were, and I'm sure some others are the same, where there are templates that you just choose a template. You can change the colors, you can change the background, but it's very simple. They basically give you spots where you put in your text, you put in images, they sort of guide you along building out your pages. So that is the way that I went. And it was fairly simple. And then also a profile picture or pictures, right? What kind of content are you going to have on your website? Another question I get a lot is, what do I need on my website? And I think that question, I answer it the same every time. It's just a few basic elements at the very start. You only need one page on your website. And I think a picture of you, because I think it's a psychological thing, right? To see the whites of the eyes of the person you're wanting to work with. A little bit about you, a way for the client to hear you, whether it be like an audio player like VoiceZam, or if the website host that you're working with actually has an audio player that you can use, or if it's a SoundCloud link, right? A way to see you, a picture of you, a little bit about you, a way to hear you, and then a way to contact you. If you don't want to list your email address, and I recommend having a separate business email address, other than your personal email address. You can list your business email address, or a lot of these website hosts will have a contact form that you can use or embed onto your website. And that is simply, a space where the client can enter their name, their question, and their email address. And that goes directly to you through the website host. And they can contact you that way. Very easy, very simple. If you've been to my website, I have many pages with a lot of information on there. And you can do that. You can build it out to that size if you want to. But I think in the beginning, a single page is just fine, right? You don't have to make it overly complicated. But I do think a website is essential. It's your it's your internet home base, right? Because I'm always saying to market yourself, use social media to make connections with people, with the email marketing, the cold calling, any which way that you market yourself. A website is where you're essentially directing that traffic, right? Even if you're doing emailing, like email marketing or cold calling, you're giving your name. And there's a good chance that these clients are going to want to learn more about you, to make sure that you're legit and that you're an accomplished voice actor. You are an established voice actor. You are who you say you are. It's the same thing that we do to anybody else that we're going to work with. We do a little research on them first, right? Our clients are no different. So having a website is a place where they can get that information, that more information about you, and contact you. Because even if you sent an email, or maybe they saw you on social media and all they have is your name, a simple Google search, a Google search will direct them to your website, where they in turn can find out more about you and contact you. So a website, I think, is a good thing to have. Also, in that downtime, refreshing your content. All of the content that you have on social media, on your website, all of the platforms that you're currently looking for work on, like ACX, refreshing your samples there, Fiverr, Upwork, all of the other platforms that you're on, voices.com, Voice123, Voquent, all of them. Go through all of your content there, all of your samples and demos, and take another listen to them. If they don't reflect how you currently sound, then replace them. Because let's face it, as you go along, you just inherently get better. You're honing your skills, you're practicing more, you're learning more tricks and techniques with your DAW that improve your sound quality. Maybe you've gotten a new microphone. Maybe you've treated your space better. You sound better after, some any point of time. So you want to refresh your demos often. So that's a good time to do that. And also, excuse me, during that downtime, you can also take a look at the year ahead. What did you learn from this past year? Did you learn that maybe there is a certain time of year that you need to push with email marketing? Maybe if you're on a platform like Fiverr where there's a lot of different gigs, did you learn that perhaps you could have a character gig that you can make small modifications to for every holiday? Meaning, have a character gig and then slightly change it for Christmas and have Christmas samples. Maybe you do a heck of a Santa impression or an elf or Mrs. Claus or something like that. Then modify it for Christmas time. When it's Halloween, modify it for haunted house use or, creepy messages or things like that. If you could do like a villainess voice, something like that. You know, think about what you've learned about the year that's passed and start making plans to apply what you've learned in the coming year. I think the holidays is a good time to do that. Now, I know that a lot of us have family come in or you're going to family and you just don't have a whole lot of time. Well, in that respect, if you don't, then enjoy that time with your family. That is time that you never get to redo. That is time that you never get back. So spend that time with your family. All right. I feel a tangent coming, so I'm going to pump the brakes before it starts. Let's head over to the comments and see who's here. I hate getting sick. Tina Gerhardt, and I don't know if I saw these two comments that were already here, and I'm wondering if Tina had placed them last week when I didn't show up because I was not feeling well, but I'm going to go ahead and include them because I'm hoping that she's here. Tina asks, can I ask what platform you use to build your website? I use Wix. So far, there hasn't been anything that I have not been able to do with Wix. Nothing. There's nothing that I want to do that I can't do with Wix so far. Joy is here. Hey, Joya. How you doing? I miss you guys. While still slightly vigilant over Fiverr's unexpected messages, I did limit my work time over the holidays. I took Christmas Eve day and the day after off. Extremely hard to do. You're me. if you're me. Yeah, I get that. And if you do want to take time off during the holidays, and specifically for Fiverr, I don't ever use the holiday, like the unavailability. And the same thing goes with Upwork too. I don't change my availability using the little tools that they have to make you unavailable. Excuse me. Instead, I actually extend out the delivery days. So for example, if my normal gig is a 2-day delivery, if I want to take a day or two off, I'll extend the delivery time out to 4 days, 5 days, about a day or two prior to the time I want to take that off. So if a client is not needing anything rushed, but still needs to place the order before the end of the year, then they can place the order. And then when I'm back into the office, I'll go ahead and get it done. That's what I typically do for the holidays. Rustic Hillbilly is here. Good morning and Happy New Year. Good morning and Happy New Year to you. Miriam is here. Hello all and happy 2024. Be healthy and happy. I didn't push harder with more auditions, etc., but I did complete my website. Good for you. Added another gig to my Fiverr account and signed for a mentor guide. Yes, she did. She signed up to work with me for a few weeks, and I'm excited to work with you, Miriam. Excited for that. Masonry construction is here. It's not so much that I take time off, but that things slow down because clients take time off. That too. That too. A lot of our clients, we forget that. A lot of our clients take the time off. Excuse me. Especially if you're working in an industry such as ours. You have international clients, and some of those clients, unlike here in the USA, that actually get weeks off. We don't typically, right? We get just a few days off or maybe a week at the most. But if the businesses are, I guess it could be a couple of situations. If the businesses are done with their budgets for the year, or if they're just completely out of the office, right? Either way. David is Horn. David is Horn. David is here. Good morning, David. Need more coffee, apparently. Good morning, Angela, and Happy New Year. Yes, same to you, David. Thanks for being here. Caesar says, I wasn't sure how to answer this because I wasn't 100% work free during the holidays. I did set aside time for my wife and family, but part of my schedule was for tying loose ends, planning next year, etc. Good. Good for you. And I think a little bit of both is really what I did at the end of this year or last year. Is I took a few days off and then I also reflected on the past year and what I could do for this year, for this brand new shiny year. Tying up loose ends. Dylan's here. Hey, Dylan. I took time off over Christmas to spend time with the family, but New Year's Day saw me up recording and mastering until 2 a.m. to finish a book. 2024 will be a big year. I love that. I love the positivity. I love it. Yes, 2024, brand new year, fresh start. Facebook user says, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. This is Colette. Good morning, Colette. Good to see you. Caesar then says, that said, hello, Angela. Hello, everyone. I would like to thank Angela and the Platinum Group for all the growth I experienced this year and for removing me from my own dark place. Oh, Caesar. I'm very thankful for you and everyone in our Platinum Group. And I'm so glad that you feel that way. I have definitely seen a change in you over the course of this year for the better. I mean, you're not, in the beginning, you were a little bit hard on yourself. And now I can see the confidence in you from meeting to meeting to meeting, that confidence grow in you and your own abilities. And I love that. And I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for you. Don't make me emotional. Ryder Dude says, good morning and Happy New Year, Angela. Yes, same to you, Ryder Dude. Ryder Dude says, and Happy New Year, everyone. Absolutely. Dwight says, Happy New Year, Angela. Happy New Year to you, my friend, and fellow Angelinos from a sunny but cold Connecticut shoreline. I'm driving, so I can't type anymore, but I'm listening. Well, I am glad that you're here, Dwight. Good to see you. Bear338 says, Happy New Year, Angela, and all the amazing people. Yes. Yes. Thank you again, everyone who's joined. There's 38 of you here. I appreciate all the time you guys take to spend with me. I do. Caesar says, I had like a bunch of nephews who barged into my studio on Christmas Eve and Christmas and the 26th to enjoy my seriously overkill laptop. For the next 72 hours, all I heard was ooh and ah. Yes. New gear is hard to resist, right? Especially when you have really fun stuff in your studio. But luckily, I have a no enter. This room is off limits to everyone but me, including the cat. She's not allowed in here too. Jonathan B. Good morning, Jonathan. Happy New Year, everyone. Secretly here live from the car dealership. Well, good to have you. I know what that's like. I used to do it. I used to join in on Anthony's lives when I was at the car dealership. I would just go take a walk and then listen in my ear. Bear338 says, LOL. Nice, Caesar. Yeah. Ryder Deed says, I took a couple days off, but really grabbed as many shifts as I could, gig work, to put needed cash in my pocket. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, You actually reminded me of something that I wanted to bring up for 2024. I think also in times of downtime, teach yourself a new skill, something that can work well with voiceover. And I've said this many times before because voiceover works so well, of course, with video and with digital, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like Canva slides and PowerPoint presentations and creating music and sound bites. And if you think about all the equipment, podcast editing, video editing, if you think about all the equipment we have and how well that works together with, other types of media, teach yourself a new skill. Teach yourself how to manipulate video, how to edit video, right? Content creation. If you think about Instagram stories or YouTube shorts or TikTok videos, right? Everybody's looking for these bite-sized little videos. If you can teach yourself to not only edit video for people, but also to include your voiceover with it, because I can't tell you how many times I have heard other creators, say that they absolutely hate the sound of their voice, but everyone's sort of getting exhausted with the AI voice options as well. From personal experience, I've heard this. So if you're a voice actor, then offer your talents along with something else that they're looking for. Make yourself a one-stop shop to get something creative. And then you can also do the voiceover with it, right? Teach yourself a new skill that'll make you that much more valuable to your clients going forward into this new year. Because, if you think about it from their perspective, instead of going to 2 to 3 different freelancers to get all these little bits done, if they can just come to you with an idea and then you can do everything, then you just become that much more valuable. Is that a tangent? I guess it could have been a baby one, a little one. But I think that is definitely something to learn this year. Chrissy Sell says, good morning. I took a week off. Good for you. Getting back into it now, and my laptop is acting up. Of course, it's the way it always goes, as in playing dead and then coming back to life. It might be time for a new one. That's usually, I hate to say it, but that's usually the beginning of the end, right? Something's not jiving. Bear338 says, oops, Caesar. You need to put a lock on your door, Caesar, for your studio. David Horn says, sorry to hear you were sick. I'm currently in bed sick myself. Happy New Year to me. And there's definitely a couple of bugs going around. My son had it a few weeks ago. And I think as much as I resisted, it finally caught up with me at some point. But it is what it is, right? Hot Pink Bear says, hey, I could see the poll this time. They fixed it. It was just a matter of time, right? Good. I'm glad. Caesar says to Bear338, it's okay. It's a common misspelling. Bear338 says, I have been busy, LOL. My wife bought me a mic stand combo for Christmas. Nice. And I'm about 80% done with my studio. Pictures are on the Facebook page. Awesome. I'll have to go and check them out. That's awesome. And I love it that you guys share your progress in our Facebook group. Because everyone just starting or maybe thinking about getting started or they're just in the beginning stages and have heard me say, focus more time on your space, but they have no idea where to start or what that even looks like. Seeing everybody's studios in progress or studios already completed on Facebook, maybe they'll get some ideas on what they can do with their own space. Not just that, but everybody's got such cool pictures, cool studio spaces, and we love to see them. So if you're in my Facebook group, the VO Workshop, I encourage you, post pictures of your studio or your studio in progress. And you never know, someone might just say, hey, I love what you're doing. Here's maybe another idea that you can incorporate. Maybe in that corner, put a bass trap, or you know what I mean. Somebody could offer you a little bit of help in the beginning of your or the during the construction of your studio as well. Masonry Construction says getting a website domain, make sure you get the SSL certificate to go with it. Otherwise, your website will display in search as not secure. That is a very good point because I pay attention to that. Whenever I go to a website, I always look for the little lock or the check mark or whatever it is to make sure that it's a secure site. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to do anything on it, right? That's a great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Tim Gleason says, I built a single page site at GoDaddy where I bought the domain name pretty easy. Okay, I think GoDaddy also just has templates too, right? So you choose a template and then just kind of fill it out. It sort of walks you through the process. Eric's here. Morning. Happy New Year to all the VO peeps in here. Love ya. Yes, good to see you, Eric. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Caesar says, I've also been thinking of really setting up my Fiverr gigs. I feel like last year has taught me not to doubt my abilities or not to perceive any lack of ability. And I think that is key. For this year, I think everybody here should make a promise, not just to me, but to yourself. I want everybody here to make a promise to me and to yourself that you will not doubt yourself. You will not put yourself in your own way. Don't tell yourself that I have a crazy accent. I have a weird whatever you're telling yourself that is going to keep you or hold you back from doing what you want, from getting into this line of work. Don't do it. Don't do that to yourself. Don't doubt what you can do. Don't doubt your abilities. Don't doubt yourself. Just do it. And once you start to see that whatever that was holding yourself, that you were using to hold yourself back is not an issue, then the confidence that you gain from that is everything. And that will help propel you forward to go further and longer, right? To keep your business afloat than you ever thought it could. Does that make sense? God. But that's what I want you guys to do, is make yourself that promise this year that if you have no other New Year's resolutions, that is the one. That you will not doubt yourself. You will not put yourself in your own way to accomplish what you want. Chrissy Sal says, do it, Caesar. Tiff's Stella Reed says, do you have any tips for choosing brand colors for websites? I find it so difficult because sometimes I find the colors don't look cohesive when I add fonts. You know, there's a lot of psychology to color selection. I would look up some information on color psychology as far as, just to give you an example, I've heard that red can be a little off-putting, right? That colors like blue make people want to buy more. Things like that. Look into color psychology and see if that helps at all. But I think for me, I just used my favorite colors because they represented me. And I did hear that red is not a good color for sales, but red is like my signature color. Red and black are like my two signature colors. So I kept it that way. But if you're looking for colors that go together well, maybe a little bit of trial and error, right? You might just have to play with it a little bit to see what's good. Or another thing you do, I edit a podcast for a company that does rebranding, right? You can consult with them and they will give you some ideas in which to how to like reconfigure your website. Carrie Love Designs. I believe is the name of that company. But so there's a couple of different ways that you could go. Oh, we just got a super chat. Hold on. It was Sean Lester. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. First super chat of the year. Thank you so much. Sean says, what would be a good next level skill or goal for someone who is up and running? And thank you for putting this community together. Oh, well, thank you for being part of it, Sean. I appreciate you. I don't know if you guys can hear the trash truck outside. It's making a bunch of noise. A good skill or goal. I really do think looking into and learning new skills that marry well with voiceover is something to definitely focus on this year, because you can utilize that in so many ways, not only for clients, but also for yourself in creating content for yourself to brand and market yourself. So I think learning how to edit video into short little, sound bites or tidbits for shorter videos like TikTok, Instagram, things like that. Also, learning how to use Canva to create slides and presentations and things like that. I think those are definitely going to be some good skills to have in the year going forward. I'm going to focus more on those myself. So I think that would be a good one. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, Sean. Oh my gosh. We get so many comments. Hold on. I'm trying to find out where I was. Here we go. Dylan Holt. Dylan says, I really like Wix. I do too. I'm very partial to Wix. I've used a few hosts in my endeavors, but Wix is the one I like best. I think apart from Wix, I've used WordPress for a website, like in the way beginning when I was first starting to dabble into this. And then I discovered Wix and I was like, oh my God, this is so much easier. And then, going down that Wix rabbit hole, I discovered it could do so much more. I even looked at sites like Kartra and what's the other one? Oh my God, there's a big one, Kajabi, right? But I stayed with Wix. Tim Gleason says 2024 is starting out pretty good. Good. I submitted my first audition to one ACX posting, and then another author found me and has reached out to me asking for an audition. Hope he is for real. Well, I think also not going into it with the assumption that you're going to be scammed is not really the way to look at it either. I wouldn't put any negative filter on anything you do. I would go into it with an open mind, do your research for sure, do your end of it, research this person and make sure that he is real, but don't go in with the assumption that you're going to be scammed. I think that is just setting yourself up for manifesting. Personal opinion. But I'm glad that they found you. Is that from posting samples? I'm guessing. And just as a reminder to everybody else, every audition that you do on ACX, also post that as a sample. Fire Matrix is here. Happy New Year, Angela. Thank you for the pronunciation key, because I always forget. I'm a little weary of scams. What questions should I be asking of people who contact me via email for work? That's a great question. So if they're contacting you via email, how did they find you? Through your website? Or was it digital marketing of some sort? Was it marketing on social media? Whenever I read through my emails and somebody says, hey, I found you on XYZ, I read through the email. I don't click any links. I just don't. I will ask a question, usually a clarifying question first, to see if they respond and how they respond. For example, if somebody says, hey, I found you on YouTube, here's my manuscript, I'd like you to be my narrator. Pretty straightforward. Instead of downloading anything, I'm going to ask, thank you. Or first, I'm going to reply with a thank you. Thank you so much for reaching out to me. And if they provided any other information in the email, I'm going to respond to that as well. It's usually, how soon would you like to start with this? Is your book on Amazon? Is it, are there any accents or anything else that I need to know? Right? Or I'll usually respond with my rates, right? This is generally how I work. I collect 50% up front and then see how they respond. If they respond, then, I'll do a little bit of research on them as well. I'll make sure that they are a real person, that the author name matches what is on the manuscript or on the title on Amazon. I'll do everything I can without clicking on anything within that email. And then it's sort of like a building of rapport with the person first. I don't just click links or download stuff on initial messages. I want to have a little bit of conversation first to make sure that, I trust my intuition. I trust my spidey senses. And then once I feel comfortable with this person, then I'm going to download their content, their manuscript, take a look at it, verify the word count, and then send them back an accurate quote for the manuscript, right? But I think a lot of scams can be avoided if you as the producer, narrator, voice actor, do your own due diligence first. Look up this person, look at the book or whatever it is. Make sure that they are a legit company, that they're not, just I think it was Dwight that had mentioned, or Masonry Construction that had mentioned, is their website secure? Are they on Google? Have they posted any other kind of content, right? How long have they been around? If it's an author, are they on Amazon? Do they have books on Amazon? Is there a website for this author? And you could even go a step further and reach out to that author on their own website and say, hey, I just received a message from someone claiming to be you, if you wanted to, right? And just make sure that that is in fact them. So I think that is my best answer, is to do your own due diligence to protect not only yourself and your business, but the author, or to the client, the real client or the real author. I think that would be my final answer. Pamela's here. Hey, Pamela. Waking up, sort of. Happy New Year to all. Pretty day at the Port of LA. I bet you it is. We have another storm coming through that's supposed to hit, I think, tomorrow or Thursday. You guys getting rain out there? Dylan says, Caesar, you need to set those up. The world deserves to hear you and need a few demos produced. And I need a few demos produced. Yes, and Caesar, you have the chops to produce demos. So that is something else that you can offer as well. And I agree with Dylan. The world needs you, Caesar. Caesar says to Dylan Holt, I hear you loud and clear. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Good. Gregory says, Happy New Year. I started putting my website together, pushing through my fear of failure. Good. It's a real thing, but it is a thing to tame in 2024. It is a real thing. I think what I have learned over the course of the last few years working with other voice actors, let me just say most of them were in the very beginning stages and sort of trying to overcome that first initial speed bump, right? And most of the time that first initial speed bump was themselves. They were getting in their own way, becoming too critical of everything they were doing or not doing, simply because they were afraid to go any further because of the fear of failure. And I think if you let that stop you, then you're never going to step forward. I know it's a real thing. I've been there myself. But the only way to know if you're going to enjoy doing this if it's going to become any kind of future for you, is to do it and to see and to work hard at it, get everything in place that you need to make yourself successful, training, practice, becoming part of workshops or groups, right? Do everything that you can to be prepared for it, but you have to take that step forward. Otherwise, you won't ever go anywhere. You're planting all these little seeds in the beginning, and they will bear fruit if you continue to water them and tend to them, right? And keep moving forward and stepping out of that place of fear. Don't ever let fear decide your fate. You decide your fate. You decide to take that step forward and move forward. But I'm glad that you're taming it in 2024. It's awesome, Gregory. JCCAOL is here. Happy New Year, Angela. Sorry I missed you guys during Boxing Day. I hope everyone had a great holiday. I do too. How was everybody's holiday? Randy Moore says we did a Disneyland Christmas this year. That's awesome. So you went to Disneyland for Christmas? That's awesome. I've always wanted to do that. Caesar says, oh, speaking of cats, we adopted a new one. He's a mixed breed stray kitten who scampered into our garage to take shelter from the fireworks. No mother cat came to claim him. His name is now Heimdall. Am I saying that right? So the cat distribution system likes you. It was your turn for the cat distribution system. Oh, poor baby. I'm glad that you took care of him, though. Glowen says, top of the day to you, voiceover Angela in chat. No, I didn't take time off work. Today is my first day off in more than 2 weeks, except for Christmas Day. Wow, look at you. Look at you. Caesar says, also a funny thing. Ever since I got into VO, now when I listen to people speak, I can see the frequencies in their voice. My nephew's boyfriend has a sibilant note around 6 kilohertz. That's funny because I do something similar. When I'm listening to commercials or podcasts or anything where I hear a voice, I don't see the frequencies, but I listen. I'm actively listening to edits, to their plosives, to their tone, to what their audio quality is, right? How warm it is, how sibilant they are, where they pause. I pay so much closer attention to everything that I hear now that I'm a voice actor. But seeing the frequencies, I guess, is sort of runs parallel, right? Sort of. But if you can see the frequencies, that's cool. In your head, of course. That's so funny. Glowen says, I hope you're all having a great day. Yes, I'm late, and I brought a big box of Tim Hortons donuts. Glowen knows the rules. If you're late, you bring donuts. That's awesome. Thank you for being here, Glowen. Doruk Sirin. Hope I'm saying that right. Hey, Angela, greetings from Turkey and happy 2024. Yes. Happy New Year to you all. Caesar says to Glowen, yes, please pass them around. Please, I ran out of sweeteners and I'm having my coffee like my ex called it bitter. Joy says, hello and happy New Year from 33 freezing degrees, Southfield, Michigan. Oh my goodness. I took the holidays off and I'm struggling to get back into the groove. First thing I'm going to do is create some demos. Good for you, Joy. It's hard to get back into the groove. For me, it's so cold. It's so hot in the summer and it's so cold down here. You guys can't see it, but I've got like blankets over my legs. It's cold in here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's hard. Glowen's got donuts. Love it. Leslie said, Happy New Year. I took Christmas Eve and Christmas Day to hang with the family, then went through what needed to update on website, social media, etc. Learned so much from you in the Platinum group. That's great. That's great to hear, Leslie. You know what? Let's go ahead and check out the poll really quick. So, of course, Today's session was supposed to be last week, so a little bit closer to the holidays, so I apologize that I'm not as timely as I wanted to be, but today's question is, do you take time off during the holidays? And, let's hop on over to the poll really quick. So right now, 45 votes, and it looks like 73% of you said yes. And then 27% of you, the other option was, "No, I use the time to push harder." And I think for the most part, I wanna say you should take time off, but I think really it's an equal mix of taking some time to rest, recuperate, rejuvenate, and reassess your plan of attack for the coming year. And then also maybe refreshing some demos, taking another look at your website, taking that time and use it to still move forward in your business instead of just completely sitting on the couch and staring at the TV or whatever, reading a book, whatever it is that you do in your downtime. I think a nice mix of both is what you should be doing. And that's pretty much what I did. Except I was down with a cold, so I was sort of forced to take a couple extra days off, but it is what it is, right? Apparently my body was saying, "You need to take some time off." So I did. Okay. Now I have to find where I left off. Here we go. Writer Dude says, "Good advice. Learning new skills. So much you can learn that can be used in your business. Video editing, office skills. Yes, office skills. And not only for your own spreadsheets for billing, but making a custom silent computer, but the office skills, data entry. If you have the ability to make formulas and spreadsheets and Excel and things like that, offer those to clients. Make that something you offer to other people. I think we overlook too often the skills that we already have that we've learned throughout our lives as working adults. And we don't realize that other people don't have those. Other people can't do it. Other people don't want to do it. Other people don't have the time or the desire or whatever. And they just want to pay someone else to do it. Offer those skills. Make that another stream of income for yourself. Why not? Do it. Oh my goodness, got another super chat. Hold on. Writer Dude, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet to me. Trying this again. Last one didn't go through. A late Merry Christmas. Here's a bit for the coffee fund. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. You guys know I'm a coffee holic. And that could be a coffee and a donut. Thank you, Writer Dude. I appreciate that. Merry Christmas to you, my friend. My stomach's growling at the thought of donuts. Oh my gosh. Thank you, guys. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. Bear338 says, "Also, now that I have a microphone, I installed Reaper and Audacity to try them both. And I'm so excited to get this started. A little nervous to making friends with my butterflies." Make the friends. Join the groups. Get involved. You never know how much you can learn and how much it can improve your own confidence and your own abilities by just joining groups. And not all groups, require a cost. Join some Facebook groups with other voice actors and just lurk if you want to. Just read what everybody else is posting, and you can learn so much that way. But I encourage you in 2024, get involved in a group. Get involved in a group. Get live feedback. Join workshops like mine, my platinum group. Join workshops where you can work with other individuals and get live feedback. Work on improving your skills, right? And we have a lot of fun in our group. I'm just going to say we gamify things. But I think that is one of the most important things you can do, not only for your business, but for yourself. Because we've said many times before, this is sort of an isolating business. You're in a padded room talking to yourself all day. You're all by yourself. And when you have other people who understand where you are, where you're coming from, what you're talking about, and can celebrate the wins with you, when you have a small little victory in your business and then you go and tell, your parents or your significant other or your children about it, they might go, yeah, that's great, mom, but I really don't know what you're talking about. You can do that in the groups that you're in, and they'll understand and celebrate that with you in a meaningful way, right? My stomach's growling. I'm so sorry. So there's so much that can be gained by joining a group. And I encourage you for 2024, make that a goal of yours, is to join a group if you haven't already. They're very, very helpful in so many ways. Facebook user, this is Colette. I'm getting new window treatments and new carpeting this year. I'll have to take my booth down and put it back up again. Oh, that's tedious, but it sounds like necessary. So that's good. For the first time, I don't feel stressed about rebuilding it. I'm anxious to get it done. That's good. Sounds like you got a fire in your belly, Colette. Good for you. Good for you, sister. Bear338 says, remembering what you say on these sessions replay in my head when my doubts start. Good. That is the point. That is the point. I can't tell you how many times I sat and doubted myself. Told myself that no one would want to hear this. No one was ever going to hire me. I don't like the sound of my own voice outside of my own head. But I wanted to do this. And I ended up finding my niche, long form narration, meditation, things that I never even considered before. So don't let yourself get in your way. You don't know what is possible until you go out there and find it, or it finds you. Don't stop your destiny from happening before you even have a chance to have it find you or you find it. My God, don't doubt yourself. Yes, I'm pumping the brakes on a tangent. Masonry Construction says, while I despise AI voices as much as you do, their scripts are very often written by AI and can be decent. Sometimes. I've actually been hired to narrate a couple books where I'm fairly certain were written by AI. And you can tell the difference between an AI manuscript and something written by a person. That said, consider marketing this skill, you as the quality voice to replace the robots. Exactly. I have been hired quite a few times by companies that had gone the AI voice route and were disappointed by it. So they hired me to replace it. It is happening. Rider Dude says, it's the year of the wood dragon again. Well, really starts in February, so this must be my year. Not really into astrology, but I will take what I can get. Is it really? Is it the year of the dragon again this year? I was born in the year of the dragon. Dylan says, I went with teal and white for my website and business cards because I like them. A lot of thought didn't go into it. Personally, I use the colors that I've always liked. And it works, right? I make it work. And I think teal and white are very pleasing and calming colors. Masonry Construction says red and black. SDSU Aztecs. As long as I can remember, my colors have been red and black. Forever. Facebook user, this is Colette, says, trash truck just went by here too. Nice to know we're in the same schedule, Angela. Yes, our trash cans were just overflowing because, they don't come by on Christmas or New Year's Day. And I think a lot of people did a lot of cleaning out during the New Year's Eve weekend. So that I'm glad that they're here. I am Paximus. Happy New Year, Angela. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Good morning to you and everyone here. I actually use the holidays to take as much time off as possible. Also, I prefer Wix for my website. That's good. I say if you can take the time, because when you're a business owner, you wear so many hats and you do so many things. If you have time available without any kind of guilt or repercussions or anything else, if you have this gift horse, right? Take the time, take the day or two and enjoy that time with your family or doing something you enjoy. We need that. We need that from time to time. We push so hard during the year. Take some time for yourself. When it's looking you in the face, take it. Take it. Randy Moore says, what are some of the things you were thinking about when you're putting together your demos for ACX? Some of the things that I'm thinking about, I think, and I say this a lot, whatever manuscript or copy that you're looking at, the best thing you can do is have a firm understanding of who you're reading to, who you are as the narrator, and what is the intent of what you're reading. And that's just not just audiobooks, but anything that you're narrating. Because if you're reading a children's book to a group of children, you're not going to read that or narrate that in the same manner as if you were a doctor talking about some new medical device to another group of doctors, to a group of peers, right? Completely two different tones. So, with every audition that you do or demo that you create, make sure that you're focusing on the copy, on the text, on the manuscript. Really put yourself in the position that is necessary for that particular read. So if there are characters, become those characters. Don't worry so much about, the way that the characters sound, pitch and tone and all of those things. And typically with auditions, we're not given a whole lot of context. Sometimes the author will give you a paragraph or two, or maybe a page or two. And you don't have a whole lot of context on who the characters are. Just do your best with what you're given. Give it your best shot. And then also let the author know that this is what I've come up with based on the context of what I was given. Of course, I will read the book if we decide to work with each other. I will read the book and have a better understanding of the context and the character development, right? But just do your best with what you're given. And as far as the demos go, when you're posting samples on ACX, make sure that each sample is different tone, different genre, right? I think you want to start out with about, I'd say 4 or 5, right? Different tones, different genres. Because if you think about an author looking for a specific type of read for their book, let's just say I'm an author with a sci-fi book. I'm going to look for a narrator that has a demo or a sample narrating a sci-fi book because I want to see how well they handle that kind of tone or content. Same thing goes with romance. Same thing goes with children's book, right? So make sure that each of your samples is a different style or tone or character work or something. And just be sure that you name your sample appropriately. Name your sample describing what it is that you're doing, right? In my case, it would be American female narrates sci-fi or science fiction. American female narrating children's book. American female narrating romance. Male-female dialogue, right? Help the author find you for exactly what they're trying to look for, if that makes sense, right? And then remember to recycle those samples. You want to stay up towards the top of the search. So post the 4 or 5 that you have, and then at the end of the week or a couple times a week or whatever interval you choose, take them down and then repost them up and maybe add a couple new ones. Maybe a few auditions that you did that you just feel like you nailed it. post those as samples as well. Stay up towards the top of the search. Wow, really went off on a tangent on that one again. I just saw another super chat. Bear338. Thank you. I appreciate you. From one coffee junkie to another. Is it wrong that I get emotional, the happy kind, and I haven't even made a demo yet? I think emotions are crucial for a lot of what we do. Use those emotions. Your emotions are what set us apart from AI. Use them. They make you human. They help you to inject life into what you're reading, into what you're narrating. Use them. And also, if you are emotional, using that emotion, how do I want to put this? There's something that we always say in our platinum group is to give them the emotion 50% more. Because if I told you that I am happy right now, does it sound that I'm happy right now? Or does it sound like I'm happy now that I've added 50% more emotion? If you are an emotional person, as you put it, then use that, because your emotions are going to come across a whole lot better than other people that claim to use emotion, if that makes any kind of sense. So I'm saying harness what you have and use it. Use it to your advantage. And thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. I feel so scatterbrained today. Thank you guys for putting up with me. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, another super chat. You guys. Paximus. Oh. You guys don't make me emotional. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you for all you do, Angela. Hold on. I'm trying not to get emotional. Hold on. Woosa. Okay. Looking forward to this year with you all. Oh, thank you. And I plan on doing these again for another year. And I also plan on making more content for YouTube this year, apart from just the weekly get-togethers. So that is a resolution that I've made for this year, is to make more YouTube content. I've been kind of, I wanted to have more already, but I got the cold bug. So I'm kind of waiting for all of that to pass. And then I'm going to start making more content. But thank you so much to everybody who's sent me a super chat this session. You guys are amazing. I'm just glad that you're here. I'm glad that we're all here together. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. My stomach growling. Oh my God. All right. Where do we leave off? Right here. David Horn says, question a little off topic. What is that microphone you're using in your studio? It's a Sennheiser MKH416. Yes, that is what I'm using. Janelle. Hey, Janelle. Janelle says, Happy New Year, Angela and Angelinians. I'm still kicking Fear's Tushy in 2024. That's awesome. Kick it right between the pockets. Glowen says, 2 questions on demos. Oh, I see your questions down here. Hold on. Okay. Glowen says, 1, I have a bunch of auditions I was going to do when I still had my cheap mic and didn't do. 2, how long or short should my demos be on any profiles I create? Okay. I would say, even though you've done all the work on your auditions on your former mic, if the new mic doesn't sound as different as the old mic does, then I would say use them. But of course, you want your samples to represent what you can currently do, which is why we refresh our demos and samples very often, because we just inherently get better equipment, better skills, right? So you want your samples to reflect what you can do. You want them to represent what you sound like now. So I almost hesitate to say use them if you're not using the same mic, but if it's not a far cry from what you sound like now, then use them because it's content you've already made. But also use samples with your current setup too. Um, I would say depending for as long as the length, depending on what site we're talking about, for audiobook samples, 2-3 minutes max, I think is appropriate. Because really, and this really goes with any kind of voiceover or audiobook narration, is that the listener or the client, the potential client, is going to know if you're a fit or not for their project or book within the first few seconds of hearing you. But I think audiobooks should be a little bit longer. Now, if we're talking about a sample for Upwork, Fiverr, Voquent, anything like that, make sure that those are also very specific. They're not like, actually, no, you could have a combination of demos and then individual samples, but it has to be accompanying that appropriate gig or that same gig. For example, if you have an e-learning gig on Fiverr, make sure you have e-learning samples. If you have an e-learning demo, then use that. Also, right, have a demo, the very first slot for the audios that you plug in on a Fiverr gig, put your demo in there so they can hear a range, and then have a couple of individuals of a particular type, right? Maybe it's e-learning for children and then e-learning for doctors, going back to my example before, because the tones are completely different, right? So I would say have a combination of both for those places. So the demos are typically going to be longer because they're a compilation of samples, right? The demo is going to have maybe 4 or 5, even 6, depending on how big they are, sound bites, with accompanying music throughout. And then the samples themselves are going to be probably on the shorter side, maybe 30 seconds to a minute. But I think a lot of these sites will also limit you in the length of these things. For example, I think Fiverr, their audio files are limited to 3 minutes to 3.5 minutes, I think. So they could limit you that way too. Excuse me. So I think it just depends on what site we're talking about, which site. I'm trying to staunch another tangent. I hope that answers your question. So for audiobooks, 2 to 3 minutes. Any other voiceover gig, it could be even as short as 10, 20 seconds, depending on what it is, right? Facebook user, this is Colette. My holiday was filled with friends and family and loaded with food and alcohol. It's pretty much how mine was too. Chris Walsh says, do you track your words per minute narration speed by chapter while you're recording a project? No. It takes what it takes. I don't look at the length of, for an audiobook, for example, I don't look at the length of it until the very end. And even then it doesn't really matter, because if you're working for a per finished hour rate, that's going to be dependent on your word count. Now, I know ACX sort of breaks down the payment for that a little bit differently. They do it by total minutes, right? Because that's how they figure it, per hour. But if it's a per finished hour book, then I use word count. So it doesn't really matter to me how long the finished product is. I don't calculate, my words per minute, all that thing. If you take the average rate of 150 words per minute, that will help you going into projects in the future. For example, I've had, if that's what you're referring to for the words per minute, I've had clients that were brand new to making commercials that have sent me a 500 word script, but expected it to be narrated all within 1 minute. Then I had to explain to them that the average narration pace is 150 words per minute. There's no way I'm going to get 500 words to fit within a minute unless I'm talking like an auction barker, right? Like it's blah, 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 and it's not going to be understood, and everything is just, it's not going to make any kind of sense. So that is really the only time when I'm looking at word count per minute, not so much for audiobooks. But I find that a normal conversational pace, much like this one here, is sufficient and pleasing for audiobook, and that will just naturally fall within pretty close to 10,000 words per minute, or 9,300 to 10,000 words per hour, excuse me, not minute. So I hope that answers your question. I feel like I kind of got sidelined there a little bit. I am Paxima says, I take time off during the holidays because if I don't take time off, I usually get sick, really sick. Does that happen with you, Angela? How do you gauge when you should work or not? I think it just depends on how you feel. I don't I'm much more of a homebody now than I have ever been. When I used to work in the car business, I would get sick a lot because you're touching, gear shifters and door handles and things of, many other people have touched. So it's easy to pick up things. And also you can overwork yourself a little bit too much and your body can't fight off infection and viruses as it could if it was strong and healthy. So I think listening to your body is key. If you're starting to feel run down, then do a half day in the studio and then use the remainder of your day, if you can, of course, to recharge, hydrate, do a little self-care, right? Rest if your body needs it. Just listen to your body. I don't find that I get sick as often as I used to because again, I'm pretty much in my cave of wonders all the time. And I only leave the house to go, pick up the kiddo from school and get groceries and a few other things. But I don't leave. I'm not outside the house as often. So I don't get sick as much. And now that I'm a business owner, I can control my schedule a little bit better. Pardon me while I chapstick. So I don't get overworked as much. Facebook user, this is Colette. She says the Platinum Group is great. Yes, I love them. This is also Colette, $20 a month for access for so much info. Unbelievable. Yeah. Thank you for that. It's not about the money for me. I just want, but I do have to charge something for, for running everything. But I appreciate that, Colette. Caesar says, I personally have gotten the ultra sick after pushing myself too hard. I think it's our body's way of saying, stop, hammer time. Yes, I'm old, and that's an old reference, and I understand that reference. I'm right there with you, Caesar. But yes, listening to your body, I think, is paramount. Because if you don't slow down, if you don't take a opportunity to rest and recuperate every so often, your body will stop you. Your body will do it for you. So listen to your body. If you're feeling tired and worn out, then take a little extra time for yourself. Yes. Glowen says, I'm a dragon as well. There we go. Yeah, as if you couldn't tell. Dragons all over in here. Dragon. Jamie says, hello, everyone. Just to add to the convo, Angela, you and I are fire dragons. Yes, we are. It's awesome. That's so awesome. Coffee with Sean. I like that. Taking off for the holidays is a little scary without a large book. It's also tough to even decide to not work weekends when trying to build your relationships. It's scary. It's scary to potentially miss a job or gig. For sure. For sure. I think if you have all of the, if you have platforms like Fiverr, Upwork, Voices.com, if you have the associated apps for those platforms, you can still take a little bit of time off and still be able to keep on top of client interactions, questions, quotes with your phone, and then go down into your studio and get back to work when it's necessary. But taking the time that you can, I mean, you're still technically working, but you're not working. You're still sort of, I mean, you could be in the tub with a nice book and your phone dings and you go, oh, okay, here's a question from a potential client. I'm going to answer it and send them a quote and then go back to reading your book in the tub, right? There's a little bit of a balance. to stay on top of work, but taking a little extra time to recharge and recuperate is a good thing. Glowen says to Jamie, how is the element assigned to the Chinese zodiac sign? I think I'm not even going to begin to try to answer that, but I think I'm a fire dragon too. I think Jamie's right. I'm not sure how that works. Jamie says to Glowen, if I'm not mistaken, I believe there are 5 elements and it cycles the same way as the sign. Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, because this year would be wood dragon, right? Glowen says, I just looked myself up. I'm a wood dragon. Nice. We got lots of dragons in the chat. Jamie says to Glowen, so it's water, wood, fire, earth, and gold. Industry. Nice. I am Paxima says, embrace the tangent, Angela, and stuff. No, I'm not going to embrace the tangent. Gregory says the emotion wheel is a fun exercise in the Platinum group. It is. We do the wheel of emotions every month, and that is a fun exercise in exploring what makes an emotion sound the way that it does. By reading random scripts in the emotion that the wheel chooses for you, it helps you get outside your comfort zone, right? And then exploring how the emotion is conveyed verbally. It's always a lot of fun. The wheel of emotions is always fun. Glowen says, I kept the scripts, didn't record them because the mic was trash, but can I use them even though I didn't audition for the books? Okay, so you have the scripts that were posted for auditions, but you didn't audition. I would say that was fine. I would do that. Because ACX also says that you can just take a book off your shelf and use that for audition material or sample material if you want to. So I would think that would be okay. Why not? Glowen says, oh, now I understand what you're saying. Good thing I didn't record those. I had it all messed up. Thank you. Caesar says, hello, fellow kids. Today we're going to learn all about the intestinal surgery. Caesar says, yes, e-learning for kids and e-learning for doctors have different tones. For sure. Glowen says, I'll be posting with ACX first. Then as confidence and efficiency improves, I'll go to Fiverr and a couple of others. Nice. Sounds like you got a plan. Embrace it. Dwight says, tangent plus Angela. It's tangent. You're welcome. That's so funny. Tangent. Oh, God, don't make me cough. Rider Dude says, dragons unite. Wood, fire, earth, gold, and water dragons. We want to be inclusive. Yes. Caesar says, apparently I'm a goat. Don't eat me, dragons. We'll try not to. But, no one tells dragons what they can and can't eat. Leslie says, I'll protect you, Caesar. I'm a tiger. Ooh, I like it. David says, where is your booth? Is it freestanding or is it a small room in your home? It's a small room in my home. I have no idea what the original intent of this room is. It's very small. It's like a 5x6 room, but it has like office type hookups in it. But it's almost too small to be an office. More like maybe storage. I'm not sure what it's supposed to be, but it's now my studio. And I have wedged, literally like squeezed everything in here to make it work. So it's a repurposed room in my house. Joy says, I was born the Chinese year of the dragon. Nice. We got lots of dragons in here. I love it. All right, y'all. I have to get my day going. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I always enjoy these conversations with you guys. I really appreciate the time that you guys take also to spend with me every week. I will be here next week. And if you have something that you guys want to talk about, there's a topic that is just inquiring minds want to know, and you want to get multiple perspectives on it. I mean, if you have an idea or something that you want to talk about, please put it in the comments below. And if you are watching this in Team Replay, be sure to like and consider subscribing. I really appreciate it. But if there's something you guys want to talk about in any upcoming live, then please put it in the comments. I really appreciate you guys. But I'll see you next week. Bye.